दुर्भिक्ष में भी अध्यात्म तत्व को संसार में प्रसारित करने के लिए प्राण प्रण से जुटे हुए हैं, उन्हें मैं स्टेज पर आमंत्रित करना चाहूँगी कि वो लुक इनवर्ड्स टू ग्रो आउटवर्ड्स इस विषय पर हमें अपना मार्गदर्शन प्रदान करें, व कार्यक्रम को गति प्रदान करें।
ओम असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतंगमय। ओम शांति शांति शांति। Lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, and from death to immortality. Om peace, peace, peace. Dear and respected Dr. Chinmay Pandya, Srivastavji, the distinguished audience, the staff, students, faculty and others connected with this wonderful institution, Dev Sanskriti Vishwavidyalaya. Because of the positive time, I am speaking in English because my Hindi, I take much more time. So to cut short my speech, because probably there are other programs. There is a sloka. Today is a very significant day because on this day in the year 1893, Swami Vivekananda set sail to America in a ship. And that day is so historic because his appearance at the World Parliament of Religions brought about a new understanding, a new link, a new bondage, a new affinity between the followers of the different religions present at that date, because for the first time a religious leader stood up on a world platform and proclaimed boldly the message of harmony and peace. So this day is very significant that we have gathered here, because today, right now, there is a function in Bombay from the very port which is set sail, where the President of India, Honorable Sri Pranab Mukherjee, the Governor of Bombay, and Sri L.K. Advani, they are participating in a function to commemorate that event which took place 120 years ago. So it's very significant that we have gathered here under the banner of this Dev Sanskriti Vishwavidyalaya. Again, a Vichar Manch ke baare mein, what is it that we really do to set right the apparent condition of the society? Because now it's a very paradoxical situation, because on the one hand, we talk about a tremendous rate of growth. We say India is one of the few countries in the world where there is such a tremendous youth power. They say by 2020, India will have the maximum youth population in the entire world. And that's a very significant number. And we are talking about a robust growth of economy, etc. But at the same time, do we really feel it? Is it percolating down to the level of masses? Does it not apparently increase the divide between the rich and the poor? Because, some 10-15 years back, we just couldn't even think about the numbers we have in terms of salary, etc. Today, a top-class bureaucrat draws a 6-digit salary. So, the point is, those who are capable, those who are intelligent, yes, they are getting. But at the same time, we only seem to be driving the poor further down the drain, and we only seem to be creating a country of huge differences between the rich and the poor. So something very serious needs to be done. The corruption in the society, the apparent ills of the society today, largely because of this ever-increasing, widening gap between the rich and the poor. So when you drive people to the wall, they react, and they react violently. So in this context, I remember a sloka from the Kathopanishad, because as our Dev Sanskriti Vidyalaya also stands for, we have everything in our culture, in our heritage. The greatest blunder, the greatest disservice we are doing to ourselves is forgetting our culture, forgetting our heritage, forgetting our Upanishads, forgetting our Gita. I tell many students, many of them come who have been abroad, who are going abroad. I tell them, many I find, I have also been to most of the countries in the world. I find Indians there, they feel so shy to link themselves to our Sanskriti, to our culture, to our heritage. I say you are doing great disservice to yourself. I asked them, today, supposing two people from two different countries, say from India or Korea, they apply for a job in an American firm, both are computer experts, then what is it that would give you an extra advantage? Where can you really leverage your strength? I tell them it's because if you have some knowledge, some idea of your culture and heritage. Why? Because the Indian culture, Indian heritage, our scriptures teach you how to be balanced even in very difficult situations. How are you to keep yourself afloat? How are you to stand on your own? How are you to really conquer the adverse situations? No, the education, whatever you have learned, your knowledge, that is quite limited. That will guide you only in very favorable conditions. What happens when there is a trouble? What happens when things don't go the way you desire them to go? How are you to handle such situations? Our scriptures, our culture, our heritage, that is what will guide you, and that is what would give you a leverage and advantage with others. Whenever you face an interview, whenever you ask for something high, whenever you attempt something very high. So do not feel that way. People pay so much to invite experts, management gurus from abroad. The monk who sold his Ferrari must have sold 1,000,000 copies. But Hindus do not know anything about Gita. I tell you, Gita contains much more about management than all these books. I have read that book that is verbatim taken from Vedanta. Much of the message of it is only from Vedanta. Only it is clothed in a language that is apparently modern, apparently more appealing to the Western mind. So, in this context, the sloka of Kathopanishad that is so important, Paranchikani Vetrinat Swayambhu Tasmat Parang Pashyati Nantaratma Kaschid Diraha Pratyagatmanam Aikshak Avritya Chakshuhu Amritats. Who am I? What is my real nature? Am I this small little individual bound by ever so many limitations, thinking that I am this body, I am this mind, I am this small little individual who is not capable of this or that? Is it my real nature? Or there is something much bigger, of a larger dimension in me, where I can always say, with my head held high, under any situation I can say, I am not going to cow down, I am not going to bow down, I am free, I am powerful, I am capable, I can do anything, that kind of an idea. How does it come? Swami Vivekananda, he was a great storyteller. He used to tell a beautiful story. There was a lioness, it was pregnant, it was unable to hunt. Somehow with great difficulty it approached a herd of sheep. And just it was about to pounce upon a young one. In that strain, it gave birth to a young lion and died. Now this cub, it lost its mother. The rest of the sheep took this lion cub along with them, fed it grass, made it bleed, and that is how it grew up. It was growing in size, but mentally, in its attitude, its habits, it was just like any other sheep. One day, another big lion came near that herd. From a distance, it saw, what is this lion's cub doing amidst sheep? It was surprised. As it was chasing the pack, the other sheep ran away, and somehow it went and caught hold of this lion cub, dragged it along, and said, what are you doing here? It has been trained as a sheep all along. It was bleating and shivering in fear. Then he dragged it to a water resource, and made it look at the water and see its reflection. What are you seeing there? It's a big lion and a small one like that. You fool, you are that small one. You are looking at yourself. You are not a sheep, but you are a lion's cub. Come on, taste this flesh. It thrust a piece of flesh into its mouth. Don't bleed, roar like me. It had let go a huge roar. The young one also roared, and together they disappeared into the forest. So Swamiji says, all of us are like that lion's cub, born great, with extraordinary capacities, talent, inherent strength, but bleating like a lamb, like a sheep, thinking that we are small, we are limited, we are powerless, we are incapable. Shake off that idea that you are a sheep. Remember that you are a lion. Be great. That is what, that is what would give you, that is what would dawn upon you if you start looking inwards. Because, you're always, our sight, our ideas, our focus, always external, external, external. What is apparently glamorous, what is apparently attractive. We never take time off to sit and reflect. Who am I? What is this? Where am I participating? Why am I really running about? Is it really necessary? Can I really reorient my life? Can I do it better? Because, all the problems, evils, the disadvantages, whatever is happening in the society is because more and more people are only concentrating on the external world. The moment we develop a little of this inwardness, I think that is the area, that is the beginning for this Vichar, whereby you start discriminating what it is. Unless you learn to grow inwards, unless you try to gaze within yourself, you will never understand who you are, what is your strength. Because, in any situation, why I am saying, supposing someone in your neighbor's house, a young lad, very promising, brilliant, huge career, dies all of a sudden. Now you go, express sympathy with them, probably we shed tears also, but we come back, and then probably the same evening you go for a wedding reception of some other friend. Not that you are cruel or heartless. You know that your association only that much. He is your neighbor, you have to sympathize with him, convey your feelings, come back and get on with life. But in your own house, even if a very elderly person dies, it takes days, sometimes even years to get rid of that sorrow. Why? Because in one case, the understanding is very clear, it doesn't belong to me. Here we think that it belongs to me. So only this association makes such a big difference in your attitude, in your action, in your behavior. That's why Swamiji says, when you go back, when you look inwards, as is said in this Upanishad, then you understand that slowly it dawns upon you by constant reflection again and again. Measuring this against the life's situation, daily life incidents, whatever has happened in your life, in the life of others, everywhere, again and again, and you reflect, you find that all this is happening because of a wrong association, wrong understanding. Why does he was talking about bureaucrats, why do they behave like that? Why do they take rishwat? Why do they take bribes? Because they think that a little of external comforts will bring them a better life. No, that brings loss of peace. You are constantly in fear. When will the CBI come? When will the police will come? When will be reported? Why? So, the understanding, a little inward growth, trying to find that the real peace, harmony, everything consists in living a life of contentment, living a life of completeness, understanding that in our real nature, we are that extraordinary, we are that powerful personalities, we are that infinite Atman, that is in all of us, we are that, and all our external associations, whatever we do in the society, we do participate, but you participate with a better understanding. That's what Swami Ranganathan used to say, enlightened citizenship. We are there, we are in the country. How much we really think about the country, about others. If you have to really bring about that understanding, if you have to think about others, if you have to think about the country, your neighbors, your society, your relatives, everybody, why should I do it? Why should I not be selfish? Why should I not do something which is immoral? That is because in your real nature, you are that supreme personality that doesn't behold you. You can't do it because your real nature is that pure, infinite, boundless, eternal, birthless, deathless, infinite spirit called Atman. See, just think of that idea. Let us not grow even philosophical. Just supposing, imagine, basically, I am that extraordinary personality. I have infinite strength, infinite capacity, infinite understanding. I am not bound by any sorrow, suffering, limitation, lack of wealth, lack of health, lack of anything. Even to have this mentally, this association, this understanding, think about it for some time every day. That gives you a tremendous strength, a feeling that you can do anything. You will no longer, whenever something, anything which limits you comes into your mind. Supposing you feel jealous of somebody, immediately you have to reflect, how can I be jealous? The moment I think that I am supreme, I am infinite, the other person is also like that. You cannot say that I am divine and you are devil. The moment you have that supreme idea about yourself, then immediately it dawns upon you, no, the other person is also supreme. So the idea of jealousy, idea of looking at someone with a negative feeling, small-mindedness, many of those things, the idea of fear. Why should I be afraid of anybody? Because I am that infinite, eternal, powerful personality. I don't have to be afraid of anybody as long as I live with my head held high up, because I don't do anything which will in any way harm or limit my personality. See, the moment you give such a color to your real nature, I am that supreme, boundless, infinite personality, you cannot do anything that will bring about a limitation to yourself. That will be lowering your self-esteem. See, the moment you think that you are supreme, you cannot behave in a peevish manner, in a narrow-minded manner, in a selfish manner, in a way so as to harm others, because you know that you have really understood that you are the supreme personality. Then you always live a high life, a life of extraordinary understanding, an extraordinary feeling of joy, happiness and satisfaction, because you know that ultimately all these things are all simply passing. Think of the most beautiful personalities in the world. After a few years, it all goes away. The wealthiest persons in tsunami, how many wealthy millionaires became paupers overnight? There are, I think, even in this audience, many whose forefathers are extraordinarily rich. They are all living in very ordinary life. How people from ordinary circumstances become billionaires overnight? So a little understanding that all these are all only passing phases of life. These are not eternal. These will vanish one day or other. That doesn't mean that we should live a beggarly life. You live a kingly life, but you have that understanding. These are all just incidental. These are not real, affecting the core of my personality. At my core, I am the supreme, immortal, boundless, birthless, deathless, eternal, all-powerful personality, whatever name you call it. But incidentally, I am this, I am that, I am a bureaucrat, I am a politician, I am a sadhu, I am a samaj sevi, I am a vice chancellor, I am a student, I am a housewife, I am a husband, whatever it is. These are all external clothing. Within that is a supreme personality. Then your life gets a totally new dimension. You look at life differently. I think that is the beginning when the samaj, the society, we really start understanding about peace, harmony, and coexisting in a manner whereby everybody would be happy to stay on this planet and lead a life which will be full of peace, joy, and happiness.